it's Kerry with you today. I hope this video finds you all healthy and safe at home. So what we have here is our little Happy Thoughts Matchbox. Now these are free digital downloads that you can get in our store, and the link for these will be in the description box below. And then we've also created 2 pages with positive affirmation cards. So these ones have already got sayings on, and then there's some blank ones with some imagery so you can create your own sayings. So today for my Lindy's project, I'm going to use some very simple techniques to colour my pages and my little matchbox, and then you could use this as a daily positive affirmation for yourself, or you might even want to make some of these and give them to your friends who maybe they're struggling a little bit as well at the moment. So let's get started. So I'm going to start with the cards, and I've just printed these out on some fairly sturdy card. It's not watercolor card or anything like that, it's just regular cardstock. And I've printed these on a laser printer. Now just be mindful that if you print these on an inkjet printer and then you add a wet medium over the top, it will affect, in most cases, the printing on your cards. So if you don't want the printing to be affected, you might want to just use some plain cardstock first, colour it up using the same method that I'm going to show you, then let it dry thoroughly, and you might need to iron it before you run it through your printer. But if you're laser printing, it won't affect the printing at all. And I'm going to be using my Lindy's colour cups that I have made up using my Lindy sprays and magicals. If you haven't seen the video for these, I'll leave a link to that below as well, and then you can make your own colour cups. You can also get a free download from the website for these colour labels. So to begin, I'm just going to give my cardstock a light spray of water. Now if my card starts to curl up at the sides, if I just mist it slightly on the back, that will help it go flat again as well. And I just want to make sure that I've got, you know, a fairly reasonable amount of water on there, because I'm going to be using my colours to sort of give these a bit of a watercolour wash. So just going to wet my brush, and I'm just going to randomly add the colour onto the little affirmations cards. And then I'm just going to spray a little bit more water to help that colour move around. I don't mind if they go onto different cards, because I just want them to have a nice sort of watercolour washed look when it's finished. And the only thing I'm going to be trying to be a bit mindful of is making sure that none of the colours that I use will create mud. So I want to make sure that the colours that I mix together are colours that are next to each other on the colour wheel, because those colours will always blend nicely together. And then I'm just going to dry that off with my heat gun. So I've just sprayed a little bit of water, and for something different I'm going to use my Lindy sprays for this one. Now because I'm using my sprays and they're very potent, I'm going to actually fold my piece of paper roughly between the matchbox and the base and the sleeve, because I want to sandwich the colour between these 2 pieces. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of the spray. I'm almost out of this colour, which is the Caribbean blue. It's one of my favourites. So I'll just splash a little bit on like that. Add a few squirts of water, and then just a little bit of the luscious lime. And then adding a bit more water, making sure there's plenty of water on the other side. So when I sandwich, and I'm going to lift this one onto the colour here. If I do it the other way, the colour will run down. When I sandwich on top, I'm going to press gently so that I'm hopefully transferring that colour onto the Matchbox base as well. And then I'll just dry these off as well. So once you have your box and your cards coloured, it's time to cut everything out. Now the cards all have a light line around them, so you can follow the line as a cutting guide, and the Matchbox also has lines around it for cutting, so you're only going to cut these external lines. These internal lines are fold lines. The same over here, so you'll just cut around the edge. These other lines are for folding. So I'm just going to use the lines on my trimmer and a little tool to score the lines where I need to fold gently. So when you're cutting down the edge of your box, you need to cut all the way down to this point here. So you end up with that shape. So next I need to score along these lines, and I'm going to use my little trimmer and pokey tool to do that. Once you have everything scored, turn your box over and you just need to fold everything upwards. Then I like to fold this flap back just a little bit whilst I get the glue in the right place. These two small flaps here, I'm just going to pop a small dab of glue on each side. Then I fold these up and bring that top flap up to meet them. A little bit fiddly, but once you get it, it goes together pretty easy. So those two flaps there will glue down onto our back flap here. And then along the edge of this flap, I'm just going to place another small amount of glue. That just tucks inside on top of the first two small flaps that we glued down. You might need to just hold it for a second to let that adhere. Then we're going to do the exact same on the other side. Once the two ends have been secured, we just need to do the same along these two side flaps here. So our Matchbox base is complete. So now I'm going to take our Matchbox sleeve, and before I start folding it, I'm going to add just a little bit of inking, and then where I scored earlier, I'm just going to fold the Matchbox sleeve down along those edges, and then I'll apply a little bit of ink to those edges as well. So when you adhere this part down, you need to make sure that the edge of this top flap here is lined up very closely to this edge along here. If you have it too far in and have too much exposed over there, then your Matchbox isn't going to fit in very nicely. So I'm just going to apply the glue on this edge. I don't want to be too close to that part of the flap, so just along this edge. And you might find it easier to do it flat, push it down onto the tabletop, line it up, and then pop it back into shape with your fingers. So whilst my Matchbox is drying, whilst the glue is drying, I'm going to cut out the rest of my little cards here. So once you have all your little cards cut out, they're ready to go into your Matchbox, but I think I might add a little bit of inking around the edge of each one. So once you've inked up around the edges of your cards, you could still take it a little bit further if you wanted to with a white gel pen or some glitter or stickles, and you could add some extra detail to these cards. But for today, I'm just going to leave them as they are, so I'll gather them all up. And I'll pop them into my little box here. Slide them inside, and that's my little positive affirmations box of happy thoughts ready to go. And again, you could decorate the outside of the box with some extra things, some stickles or some bling, maybe some sequins. Or if you wanted to change the front entirely, perhaps you wanted it to have a different cover, you could actually just cut out one of these extra cards and pop it onto the top there if you wanted the box to say something different. Anyway, I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration. A really super simple project, a great little thing to give to somebody else. Please stay healthy and happy and at home during this time. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye.